Hello once again, welcome back to yet another tutorial. Today we're going to be diving into building a real life project. It's going to be a good game. I was browsing through the internet and I've got to see this game. It's called the Password Game. Many have seen it and it quietly challenged me, and I wanted to build something like this with you guys. It's just a password game. I'm gonna link the link to this into the description, and as well as the one we're gonna work on, build finished version. I'm gonna link the GitHub and the live link as well. So this is a basic game, password game. What basically it does, you choose a password. For example, I can choose hello. So as we type, we start getting the rules. For example, your password must be at least 5 characters. So if I do pass that, we're gonna get another rule. Your password must include a number. If I put a number, we're gonna get another pop-up. Your password must include an uppercase letter. For example, I can do that. Your password must include a special character. So all of these are different uh, different perspectives of the game. So how it goes, so you see all these are sets of rules. We try to play along to see that we can get them correct. So basically this is something I want to build with you guys today, and hope you stick around with me and as we kick start off. So without wasting time, let's start building this. So I went ahead and set up a new project, a new Next.js project. I created them in the normal way, creating the new um, Next.js project. This is a project benchmarked on Next version 15.0.3 by the time I've recorded this video. So this is one of the latest, and yeah, using some of the latest React node compilers. These are the latest, so they have this RC blah 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 blah. So and also using the turbo pack. But to kickstart off, if I go ahead and run my terminal, we have a look, npm and dev. We try to have a look of what's running. I called it the password game, and yeah, it's running on a turbo pack localhost version 3 point that. So if I click that, it's gonna open up something like this here, and you can splint this and add to left with the game. So this is the game we're gonna be mimicking. Should I turn it? No, let me move it to right. This is the game, and this is gonna be our localhost. So this is something we're going to be trying to build all after, and yeah, we're going to try to see if at all we have something like this working out. So I'm going to make it an open repository, probably for you guys to learn through it, and maybe try to suggest more features. It's going to be open source, and we see how we can deal with it. So the only thing, as it's trying to load, the only thing I've done behind the scene is I've changed the font here. If you come along and you minimize this, if you come along and we see in the globals.css, I've added one line on top, which is going to use this it's called bricolage grotesque font from the Google fonts, and I've set it to run into my body. So it's going to be running this and some other couple of fonts as well. I normally like using this font because it looks fancy and yummy for me. So yeah, this is the only thing I've done, and as you can see, if you try to check, it's the only thing there right now we have. So if I close that and we try to check our deployed version, I mean localhost, yeah, so we have this onto our localhost. This is what we're having right now. So okay, now to kickstart, I'm gonna kickstart off by designing a web a version looking like this. So if we go ahead to I'm gonna first do all of this into the page, and so what we're gonna need is I'm gonna get all of this, rid of it, and get it out from there. I'll put a default one. For example, I'll call it a page, and I try to save that. So if we check back, we have our page running. We have our page running here. This is what we have now. So to kickstart off, what we need to do is I'm going to start by designing this, what we're seeing here, that I'm going to design now on this right hand side. So I'm going to start by making this div. I'm giving it a class name, and maybe I'm going to give it a minimum height of screen and text black, I guess, because I'm gonna change the BG to, I think that color is try FFA E9 hash. So is this the color code? So let's see. So if you try to save this and we try to go through these, you see we having no change, but we have this text changing to that, which is great. So okay, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna change this to FFA 500. Yeah, that works. I think that was a problem. FFA E9. Yeah, that's the normal white I usually use. I'm gonna add some padding, top, bottom, and left, and as well as do some flex and add in some flex call, and as well as items center. So if I save this and we try to go back and have a look, we have something now looking alike. This is great. So I'm gonna put on this is gonna be our second thing, the one we're seeing here, the password game. So it's what I'm gonna add in now, because I believe it's one of the things now we need to so I'll call this main title, something like this, since this is going to be open source. So I'm trying to document everything as possible. So I'm going to name this class name, and I'm going to call it text for Excel, and I'm going to give it font bold and items center, and as well as give it flex, justify center. So after justifying the center, margin bottom is gonna be 12, something like this. So this is gonna be the margin top, the margin bottom, and here we are going to add in something called what? I'm gonna add in something called we're gonna add in, because if we look closely to this, there are two segments. This is the star and these are the text, so meaning that will give me, I'm gonna put a span which is gonna hold different styles for the star. So I'll give it text, I'll give it maybe XATL, give it margin right like 2, and for the top like 8, and then here I'll put the star, and after that, now here in the H section, I'll write the password again. So if I save that and go have a look, wow, great, we're having something like this, the password game. So this is basically ours, the one we have. Made this bold for it to look more eye-catching compared to this one we are seeing here. So after that, what we're gonna do is now the next thing we need is this field input. Please choose a password. It's something I guess that we need right now. So after that, we're gonna go ahead and add another div, and I'm going to give this some tailwind of width full. I think max width, give it 2, I guess 2 XL, and inside it I'm gonna give a padding, a paragraph, and a class name of text XL MB minus 4, that's margin bottom 4. And the next thing I'm going to add is please choose password. So far, if I save this one more time and have a look at it, we have something like this. Please choose a password. It's what we have here. Please choose a password as well. So if it looks bigger, we can still can maybe just call it MD, the text, for it to look a little smaller. MD is small, just maybe call it LG. Yeah, that looks beautiful. Now after that field, as you look closely, what we want now is the field to enter the password. So I'm gonna name this input field, right? So I guess what we need here is gonna be I think it would be a nice idea if I put a div of class name. What should we give it? Since it's gonna be somehow, let's make this relative and give it a margin bottom of 8, and then inside there is where we're gonna put our input, which is gonna be of type text, and it's going to have a class name of we want it to have full, and a pattern padding of 4, and text of XL, and border of 2, and that border maybe should be gray. 300 will be looking beautiful, and we can round it to be LG. So the only thing remaining here, I guess, is what we call the placeholder. So if I give it a placeholder, I'm gonna give it a placeholder of let's try to check here. Okay, here if we try to refresh on this side, there's nothing in here. I guess it's still loading. Okay, here it seems to be blank, but for nice user experience I can add something like enter password. So if I save that, you see ours, we having something like enter password, which is looking more beautiful, and yeah, a good one. So with that, now the reason why we added one of the reasons why we added I have added this relative, because if you look closely here on the right, if you try to type, we get this button, this length of the input field. So I want to put it relative for hours inside somewhere here to make something twist the design somewhere around. So if I go here after the input, that's why I've used the relative. So if you like to learn more about the relative, the absolute, and everything like that, comment down. I'll make a specific video for that. But if not, we're gonna do a span, and we're gonna make it a class name, and I'm gonna make it absolute. I think right 4 will be enough, and top I'll just divide it by a half. Okay, so this basically, you see, it's top 50, simple as that. So instead of writing it into the curly brackets and all of that, you just do top minus 1, So this is a good trick only to those anyway who don't know it, but if you know it, good, good to go. So we basically, what we want to do is have some translation working along with these absolutes. So I think I'm gonna go for translate y still a half to be 50-50. Translate y a half. So with that, and I'll make the text to be lg, and for example I'll make this 0. So I'll name this to be password length. So by default I've put it to 0. Yeah, this is already looking beautiful, guys. I like the process for now. In these minutes you've started, I like the process. So with that, so far we are kind of good. With only having that, we are good. So the next thing I believe we have is start working on the to start working on the what, on the password rules, which are something like these, the rules which are going to be rendering. So I'm going to call this password rules, which is like that. So I'm gonna give it a class, I mean a div, and give it a class name which is going to take space bottom and down of 4, and we are going to do some things inside that. So which is basically where we're going to be using to render out the what, the look, the way things look like. So I'm just gonna give this a quick one, a class name, choose be like we shall need some padding of 4, and we are gonna need a border, a rounded lg, and a transition for later, which will be like good for popping in. And I'm just gonna go in with the background color. For example, here I can choose FFA 500. This is orange, for example, just for testing out how things work. And border, which is gonna be hash maybe C5E. I'm just guessing out random numbers because they have to be 6 anyway. So it's gonna be a text black, and the shadow, which is going to be a little bit small. So yeah, it's gonna be something of this kind. So inside that, what we're gonna be having will be now another class name, which is gonna have flex item center gap2 mb1, and so I think, yeah, for this we have now a nice and if I save that, we have some nice orange here. So what we need now, we need these x's. So for that I can simply go ahead on to Lucid React. It's what we need to install. So we simply go onto the documentation, we copy that, and we are going to split our terminal and just simply paste in that. So it's gonna, oops, gotten for React Native, sorry, So Lucid React, you go to npm, copy this and just paste this here, which is going now to start installing the packages for Lucid. So to get the icons we want, for example, if we go to the icons here and we try to it's gonna load, I guess, so let's give it a wait. So if the icons are super loaded and then we try to search for cross, I think we should see something like X. Okay, something like this, close. This is a close, I guess. So if I copy this, because it's what we want, for example, to render, if something is good, so I guess it has finished installing. So I'll simply do this and then press control plus space, then it will give me this option to select what I want to use it and where it's coming in from. So anyway, I'll just give it a class name of because we need to give it a size of 5. This is the same as width 5 and height 5, and give it a text red 600. This will be for the cross. So if we try to look for the tick, which is here, so I can still just copy this and paste it here. We're gonna use it later for the one with the tick, so I just can copy this class name and paste it here and then save this. This is gonna be for this one, it's going to be green. So basically we're gonna have this svg to, because behind the scenes this is rendered as an svg, and I don't know why it's still not popping out properly. I'm still having some errors. Let me try to hover. Does not have signature. If X cannot be used as a JSX component type. Okay, I think we need some types for this. If we go to the Lucid and go to packages and we go to the guide of this, so I think they should be telling us somewhere about the type using icon component. Because now we're trying to face some type errors. Okay, let's try to check. Because basically icon component example, it is of type icon blah blah blah. So lucid props, lazy, suspense loading, great. So anyway, let's try to move around here. You see, so X cannot be used as JSX, its type is not valid. So we either do description, so we can click here to go into the documentation. I'm not seeing something helpful, so I'm gonna go ahead and search for Lucid React types. So okay, so let me open this in a new type. I think, what is the type of Lucid React icon? SVG. I think this is an issue. We can find more. I'm not sure if this is what you generate, but it's an airline. Okay, I found the solution, and when you use, you can You have to use it like this. Okay, this was also someone. This was someone. Anyway, let's see the usage. Let's see, just open and use either way you want. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, because this is a type error, can I just give it as any? Let's see. Okay, so anyway, what we're gonna do is okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead on top and try to do something like this. It's not gonna work. Something like this. And we're gonna come back to it later. This is something we can fix on later. Good thing we just try to find out that we have the logic working properly. So after having one of these, the next thing is gonna be rendering. So I'm gonna use the X. So the next thing is gonna be rendering. I think the span, which is gonna be. If we come back and have a look, try to close these. Okay. Okay, so use. So the next thing is gonna be trying to to put this like rule one, the name of the rule. So it's what I'm trying to do here in the class name, which is equivalent to font medium. That's what I'm gonna use, and I'm just gonna be saying like rule 01. So this is gonna be like the rule. Okay, so let me first try to fix this error. Copy this, and we jump on to something like ChatGPT to see what it has to give us. I didn't want to use ChatGPT, but this is now when I use help, it's going to be helpful. So I want you to fix this type error. So the error occurs when you're trying to use a component, in this case from Lucid React as a JSX. So ensure you have it from Lucid. So you have Lucid. It's gonna be like this. All TypeScript config. So if the issue persists despite importing, ensure the TypeScript recognizes the module types updates with the following. Okay, yeah, I had something like time config. So okay, this one is JSX preserve. It's not supposed to be preserve. It's supposed to be React, something like this, I guess. So allow synthetic defaults, strict true. I'm gonna just copy something all of this here, and after this maybe you can try to simply paste this. So I have already the strict true, so I'm gonna have this resolve true. I'm gonna have this allow this to true, which I'm gonna just save, but it's still not working out. So if I come back and try to check, the import is coming properly, but I don't know what's causing the problem. mm, plugins, Next.js, TSX, JSX. There's something not correct here. So let me try to install these types for React, which is already there but still not working. Debug. Let me give it all my components and see. Dude, I told you I already have this installed, which is npm install lucid react. Let's do it one more time again. So anyway, still there's a one reason of handling all of that. If um if it still fails, if you go back to lucid react and we head over back to the icons. So what you can do, and if I try to click on any and put in maybe X, so it has come. So when I click on it this time around, I can click to copy the SVG. I think that works better if all has failed. So I just simply copy this and I'm gonna get this as a class name, which is gonna be lucid. So I'm just gonna give this and I'll put it here, so that, and I'm gonna get the one for the tick. This is also another way of using lucid react. So you simply just do this and everything will be okay, instead of trying to maybe hustling here and there. So what we can do instead is just do this. Okay, so I can just even take back my let's have a look at it. Yeah, great, it has worked. That's beautiful. So we having these errors are coming in because of these, I guess. These should be stroke width and line clamp and all of that, I guess. Stroke width. Yeah, so you see how we solved all of that in a few. So definitely you can get rid of this, we can get rid of this, and also we can remove the non-imports we are not using upstairs. Okay, so now we have our application running smoothly. So that's basically what we have. And now after that, what we're gonna do after adding this span, now what we're gonna do is now add a p tag, which after that we're gonna add a p tag which is going to be having our description. For example, the description can be something like this. So if I save and go back here, we have a nice looking thing already. Look what we have. This is so amazing. Your password must be at least blah blah. So this is what we have now. Like, we have all the rules set properly the way we want them to be. Okay, so now I think most of the parts are handled. So that will happen. Maybe for example, we shall this is gonna happen for the right, and maybe if at all something is I mean that will be for the wrong, this will be for the right. So if something is right, the color here will be changing to green, which is good. Okay, okay. So I do have this video. Okay, yeah. So this is what we have now. So far we are good uh, with what we are supposed to. I mean, with the designing and all of that, we are good, I guess. Now the only thing remaining is now starting to work with adding some more bits of logic to the application to make all of this now more fun and do it and be able to kickstart off with something else. So now to start, I definitely believe what we are going to first need is a set of rules. It's what we are going to be needing in first. But before going further ado, guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel before, I please urge you to give a like to this video and maybe subscribe to the channel as well. Oops, sorry for my voice. It will be a good decision and idea for you to subscribe on the channel. Thank you so much. Okay, so now the first thing I really want to do is starting to capture the value from this input that we have. And one thing I'm going to use for this is going to be I'm going to use a couple of them. I'm going to use Zod for the form validation, and I'm planning to use the React hook form for the what? For the capturing the data that we need from there. So those are the things basically I'm planning for us to use, and I guess they work out properly for us and don't trouble with us at all. So what we're gonna do is sorry. So what basically Zod is doing is gonna help us to handle all of this. So if I do npm install Zod and hit enter, what I'm going to use here, Zod, is going to be takes a few minutes and then it will install. So after that, we need the Zod resolver. So what we're gonna do now is go ahead and install npm install. It's called at hook form slash resolver slash Zod. Hit enter. Now if you hit enter just like this, you're gonna get error. If you're using the latest Next.js, what I suggest you to do is put a space and double dash, and then you use the force. You can use the force or the legacy. And why is it not working? So I think I put a wrong name. So if I go and type in here Zod resolver, something like that, and hit enter, Zod resolver, and try to search for npm. So we're gonna get this first one. So what we're gonna do, if I click onto this, it's going to come, and what we're going to be needing is we're going to need this we're going to need this npm install. So copy that, then go back and guess we're going to paste this here, and oops, let me clear it once again. Okay, so we have it, and then space force. So what this basically tries to do, we try to force the installation. All of this is becoming because of the React. Remember, if you look onto your package, if you have such React version like this, to solve this, you can simply degrade this to like React 18 or React DOM 18. It will work finally without forcing it, but otherwise we'll have to use the force. That's what I came to realize when I was trying out Next.js 15. So after that, you're simply going to, after we've installed the Zod resolver, then now we need to install the React hook form. So for it, we do npm install React hook form, just as that, and then we hit the enter. So after hitting the enter, still you're gonna see it's gonna fail. But if you want it to work out, you are going to use the force. So after forcing everything, then this time around it should Jesus, could be a wrong spelling. Yeah, so if you come here and search React hook form, it's gonna be like the first thing to pop out. So if you click on it, you get this, and we can go back. For this, it may work sometimes without the force, but still, I suggest you add on the force for it to switch to using force. Then that's when it will finish, as you've seen, finishing all of this. Okay, so with that done, now the next thing we need to do is getting data out of our input. This is the this is the basic, this is something we are really wanting to get, like it's a big success. If we can get data out of our input, then we can do most of the things remaining are easily doable. That's the right English I can use, I guess. So what we're gonna do is go to our inputs. The first thing we always need to do before doing anything with the Zod, with the React hook form, is trying to set it up to be able to to get the how can I call it, to get the data as we want it. So basically what we first do is come on top of our page here. Just after that, we do the space enter. We're gonna now make we're gonna say something like const, open these brackets, and I need to get the register, what else, the watch, what else, the form state as well, because it's going to be used to give us errors. And yeah, so with these errors, the next thing we need to do is mechanical sign. We're going to use the use form, which is coming from the React hook form. Yes, and then we shall need types to use here, but don't worry about that for now. And we shall provide the resolver we're gonna use, because I'm just trying to put it out the way I understood it, which will be a Zod resolver, which will take in, I guess this time, this will be the schema. That's what we're going to be taking in there. And then yeah, let's try um to check out something like this. Let's see how it works. So the first thing I need to do is to get my schema ready, which is gonna be used in the Zod resolver. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I need to import this Zod resolver, which is coming in from React Hook Zod resolver, and I'm gonna need, I think, now to come to make the schema. So just here I'm gonna make, maybe I'm gonna call it defining the password schema. Okay, so I'm gonna do const password schema is equal to zod dot object. It takes in this, which is whereby first, before Zod is coming in from the Zod itself, the Z is coming in, represents the Zod, so it's coming in from Zod itself, and we, on this input we're going to be using, it's going to take in a password only, which is going to be of type Zod, which is going to be of type string. Oops, Jesus, going to be of type Zod and of type string, which is going to also be of maybe minimum, for a starter it's going to be minimum of 5, whereby we're going to handle this error as your password must be at least, is this the spelling of at least? No, I'm bad with English, but I guess it's something like this, 5 characters. So this is like the minimum password will be a minimum of 5 characters. Now if you go deep into Zod, there's what we call the regex. I love Zod so much. So something like this is the one we use to trigger out. This is the more professional way. So now here what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to say the password must be having a number. I mean, something like this gives us that. So if you do these brackets and you do a curly bracket, something like this, still trying to figure out remembering the right way of doing it, but I guess it's this, and say your password must include a number. So the first one of the things you need to put here is a comma, I guess, and this should be a dot, I guess. So it's like a dot regex, which is gonna take in I believe there's something wrong which I'm not getting to know. There's no commas, I guess, for this time. Yeah, so we can add another regex, which is going to say, for example, these are like basic rules. For example, we can say a z, and we close this. So you know what this means? It's a simple one. These are like briefly. So you just say your password must include an uppercase. Can go ahead and add on later. So like this is like the default thing. so your password can continue. So like we've made our schema properly, so I'll copy that and represent it here into our resolver. And now we are almost good, but one thing or two things we still have to put in is the type of the form, like the type we should run on, and as well as what, and as well as the, how can I call it, here should be something like the form values. So now you're gonna ask yourself, where does the hell form values, what does it mean, or where is it gonna be coming from? So now this is like a normal, it's like a type we're gonna be using to configure our use form. So I can simply do it down here. It's just like a different, the way we define types, defining, call it what, types for React hook form. So basically here what I do is just define, maybe call it the way, the name I've given it here down, form values, type form values, which is going to be of Zod. So we try to infer in a type of, I guess it's supposed to be this password schema. So it's what we're trying to infer into this. So with this done, now we are like one step, big step of our our defining. So a tell property form state does not exist on type, use form, and all of that. So another reason why we're getting this form state is because we haven't came to conclusion of using this form state where it's supposed to be used. So once again, if you just go ahead and we make this, we say const register, we try const, try to open these brackets, and then we get what we're going to be using. For example, we're going to be using the register, the watch, and the form state, which is going to handle all the errors, should be form state, which is going to handle all the errors, which then is going to be getting from the form values, which we've made as a type, inferring this schema we have on top. So all these are things you can do outside. You can do another util file holding all of this, like we shall transform later on if the project works properly. And but for now, let's just keep moving on. This is how basically I like to do it. I like doing it in one page, and after trying to separate everything more professional where it should be or where it's supposed to be. So we have this set up properly, but now the next thing, we haven't registered, or the bad thing, we haven't registered anything at all in the we haven't registered anything in the what, from the input. So now what we're going to go ahead and do, if you've been using React hook form, basically the way we register field is just spreading out these fields and putting on register, and then we type in the name, password. Now why you're going to ask, why am I typing in password? Because we registered already a field in our schema called password. So if you try to put in any name which you didn't register by TypeScript, you start getting type errors, be telling you argument password is not assignable to type parameter of password. So we put in specifically what we registered, and after registering that, we don't need anything more wrong. We can confirm that by saying what we get from this password field. But now guys, because this is not like a submission thing, so you can be wondering, how am I now going to be able to get the password? Okay, so what I can do, for example, the reason why I put in this watch is because I believe it's something we should use here. I can say const password is equal to, is this the word? Password is equal to, is going to be equal to watch, and then we get the password as something like this. Okay. It's something like this. Because I just want to try to watch the password, but oh sorry, no reason for us to do this. We can just simply do it like this, I guess, because we have the const password which is trying to watch the password fields with this value. If you try to over here, we're trying to see what's trying to do to teach you more. So we're taking the parameter, which is what we want to get, and then we can pass in the default values for the entire form. So by the default, this is what I'm trying to know. By default, it's empty. So I can put hello. So if I put hello, I guess by default here the password is going to be, we're having some error. Was not found. Use form was not found. Okay, let me try to refresh, because we don't have any error running in our localhost. So yeah, so if you put anything there like the hello, it's going to be the default rule running globally everywhere. But since in this case it's not what we want, let's try to see as it's trying to refresh. Okay, so I don't know why it's delaying. Still problem with rats running on my terminals, compiling errors, compiling does not exist, 500. Still getting 500. Is that fair? Oh, the reason why we're getting is not something like that, because now we turned already this component into a client component. Sorry. So the first thing we need to do is go on top and maybe try to change it to use client. Try to save that. We see it's compiling, and it's compiled successfully. It gave us a 200. We loaded the MV, and I guess everything is working. So as you can see, so we have this. It's what we're running here. Okay, so with that, what we are watching is the password. So as by default it's empty. So now after us having the password, and after us registering the password, we can go ahead and maybe to test this out, we can go ahead and remember we had somewhere here the password length. We can go ahead and say password dot length. It's what's going to be showing. So by default I think it's going to be 0 because there's nothing still. But if I put hello, you see, meaning it's watching. I probably you're watching this 19 changing, so meaning we at least a bit step away good onto what we are doing. That's a good one. So now we're using the password field we're getting to capture the length and all of that. So now next thing, if you have the password, one of the things now we should do next is we need now to work on the rules. For example, to show the first rule when the user starts typing, then show next rules as previous ones are completed, things like that. And maybe show the next rule when current rule is valid. um, all of those things is what we're going to be um, it's what we're going to be working with. But now what we need is a state going to help us to handle all of that. um, so we're going to go ahead and do const. I'm going to call the state, I'm going to call it visible. Should I call it visible rules? Then set visible rules, and by default this state is going to be of type use state, which is coming in from React. And by the way, if you don't want to import React, you can do it the old way they used to do, like this react.blah, but still you only have to have React installed. But these latest trends we just simply do like that. So it's going to be a view state, and it's going to have some type, and it's going to be an empty array, I guess, because it's going to be holding all the visible rows that we can see. And it's going to be having of type number within the array, something like this. So what does this mean? So we're going to have now sets of rules we're going to be displaying at a time per time, and we're going to be in an array. So meaning the next thing I'm going to do is working on an array. So I'm going to do const rules is equal to an array. But we can go ahead and professionally make a what I call it, define the types for this. We can go ahead and define the types for the rules. So I can do rules types. So I can maybe call it an interface of type rule, and then it's gonna be of ID number, because any array of course needs an ID. Oops. So after the ID, I'm gonna need to have a description, which is gonna be of type string. So after that, we shall have a validator, which I think is the right English. Validator is going to be used to check, it's like a boolean, it's going to be like true or false, something like that. But it's going to have a value of type string, which will be leading to the boolean, something of this kind. So this is like the rule type I've decided to. This is basically what we're going to be having for all of the rules we're going to be running, for all of the rules we're going to be using. So meaning we are going to make these const rules. In our array, we're going to come and now start feeding in the rules. For example, we're going to say ID is going to be 1. I pray this works out the way I'm thinking of it. Description, which is going to be of type, the one we said is going to be of type string. So you can put in here your password must include a number. Now the validator part of how I'm going to do it is the most tricky one. Let me think how easily can I do that, because we have to compare from the zone, from what you're trying to get from the I made it trying to make it more professional. Like we're gonna use Zod now to get what Zod is giving us, and then we try to play along with it back to be validated. So remember, we say this is gonna be taking in a value, which is true, but it uh, should be of accessing the value length to give us the uh, first one must be, this should be must, password must uh, must be at least 5 characters. So this is good. Now the validator, we need to get the value and then access the value dot. We get its length and we try to check if it's greater or equal to 5, then this will be true since it's a boolean format. So this is what I have. Increase the name and time. Okay, so the reason why it's like this because we haven't put type here. Type I had forgotten. So it's gonna be of type rule, which is gonna be of an array. So you have your password must be at least 8 letters, whereby we shall get the value and we try to validate it with that. We can try to make the second one, which is of ID2, and description, which is gonna be the password must include a number. So remember we saw this from the regex. So if I put in the validator, it's gonna take in the value, and then we try to use the regex to get the logic for this, which is said it should be 0 minus 9. Okay, now this will be more complicated for beginners, I guess, but I know something like that. Oh, Jesus, thank you. Okay, so your password must include a number. This is like validation 2. We're gonna access the value and then we try to test it around with this. Now this test returns a boolean value that indicates whether or not a pattern exists in a searched string. So we can, this means like we're trying to filter out in this to test if the value we have is existing in this what we have here. So this is another way of writing the regex by default. So as you can see, this is a regex expression. So it tests, we're trying to test which will be of type boolean still. So it's trying to test all of that. So maybe the third one will be, for example, it will be id of type id3, which is gonna be having a description as well. Your password. When I was making research, it took me time to understand about the regex. It really took me time to understand, but I definitely believe you guys understanding, because read documentations and I couldn't find it anywhere at all, but I had to go more deeper and deeper and try to explain it myself. So if you'd like a more specific video about regex, you can hit a comment down below, and yeah, I'll be making a specific video about it for us to understand it basically. So this one, like I've been explaining all the rest. So here your password must include an uppercase letter. So basically what we're trying to get, we are testing from the regex expression, which is A to Z, whereby these are capitals. So you're trying to test if this falls into any of these, and if it does, then it will be like a boolean, to be of type true. So we have arrays of questions and arrays of rules. So now we are almost set. Now the most thing now to start asking ourselves, the bigger question is, how now the hell can I be able to show the rules? And the logic pattern, if we try to go ahead on something we're trying to mimic, it's if you try to enter a question like this, then the passwords, the error message starts to come. For example, if they say there must be 5 and we do the 5, it's going to be okay. Then your password must include a number. Then now we're going to be seeing the next what, the next rule in the queue coming up. So we need something like that. So coming back, I think this is going to be done basically with use effects. Show first rule when spelling for user, when user starts typing, then show next rules as previous ones are completed. So this is basically it. So show the first rule when a user starts typing, when a user immediately starts typing, then show next rules as previous ones are completed. Okay, so now this is basically what we're going to be working on. So it's going to be use effects. So okay, so I can pop in a use effect snippet, which is just basically looking like this. Okay, so it always ends with this array of dependency, so it's like this. So the first thing we do is now we're going to try to check for the password, because all of these are basing on the password. So I guess if we do if password is true, I'll say here comment down if no rules are visible, if no rules are visible yet and the user started typing, and then here we shall need to show first rule. And this if statement, the first if statement. So otherwise we're gonna go ahead and say if visible rules dot, so this is what we're going to be checking. So if visible rules dot length is equal to 3, is equal to 0, and that's true, then we're going to set the visible rules to target the first rule in the array, and after targeting that, immediately we shall break this. Breaking means we shall return this equation to not continue anyway. So basically that's like the first one. So the second if, I guess, is going to be, for example, show next rule when current rule is valid. So if the current rule has been checked and it has completed, it's when we have to render the next rule. So this is going to be like a variable I'm going to make. I'm going to call it maybe last visible rule. Remember, I'm going to use it to check, is it the spelling of last visible rule is going to be equal to the visible rules, and then we enter the array and target the visible rules dot length -1, meaning that will be the previous rule. Are we together? I don't know if this is this. Just trying to think of this right now. I was supposed to stream this on Twitch, but I've had a new laptop, so I've not set up things properly. But those guys who are following me on Twitch, I've been doing this on a daily basis. So you guys, you can check up the links in the description or the links in the subheader of the YouTube, and you follow up. I normally do a live stream there, daily live stream coding, and making these projects. You can also reach me on WhatsApp anyway. As I'm trying to think, this is how I'll be like on Twitch, trying to think of possible ways of dealing with the problem. So I'm trying to think if the last visible rule, or call it the previous rule, we're trying to get that. So we go to the visible rules and we enter the array and we get the visible rules dot length. For example, if we are on the second rule, then we're going to take away the 1 to get the 1 back, which will be, this will be the right logic. So this will give us the last visible rule, this one. So now to get the current rule, still a variable, and need to get the current rule such that later on I'm going to use, I think if I use them in the if statement, let's first do this, getting the current rule, because current rule is now going to be equal to rules, these rules we have here in this array. So it's going to be like rules dot find a single rule where the rule dot id is equal to the last visible rule. Do you guys think this will work out? Const current rule is equivalent to rules dot find a single rule whose rule dot id is equal to the, we go into the rules and then we get one rule which is equal to this. So I think this will gonna be working. So I'm gonna try it and say if current rule and current rule dot validator, why should I use the validator here? I need to use this validator. I don't know if you've there's this validator. This condition will always return true since the function is always defined. Did you mean to call it instead? So this is like also a boolean way to check things, so like trying to validate. So I'm trying to think, if I do if current rule it's true and the current rule is equal to the is like okay with the current password I'm having right now. If current rule and current rule dot validator is okay with this password I'm having right now, what should I do? And then that's where the logic comes more interesting. The next thing I'm gonna do is for us to be able to work on this properly is now to start getting getting more practical with the rules. So for example, here I'm gonna say const just thinking about this, guys. So I'll need now to get the next rule ID sorry, the next rule I'm supposed to show, which will be equals to the last visible rule plus 1. So now I'm trying to get which rule should I show next. So I'm gonna get the last visible rule. For example, if the last visible rule was i.e. if the last visible rule was 0, I will add a 1 to make it 1. This English, I pray it works. Excuse me for my cough. Yeah, because this is what basically we're gonna be doing. So the next thing, I guess, is now going to try to make an if statement, another if statement, to try to check to see if the next rule ID is gonna be able to work. So if I do if next rule ID is less or equal to rules dot length rules dot length, and that is true, this should target something like visible rules is not equal to the visible rules. I think I need to use the includes. Yeah, let me just use it here. Visible rules dot includes, try to check if it includes the next rule ID, something like this. So if that's gonna be true, then there is where I'm gonna handle the visible rules. So I'm gonna first of all access the previous rule, and then try to spread in the previous rule, and then add in the next like rule ID, the one we're trying to get. Yeah. So if current password, let me try to check this and see if current rule is equal to, if current rule is true and password is like checked correct, so then we go to the const next rule ID. We're trying to get the next rule ID. So if the next rule ID is less or equal to the rule length, meaning that if for example the ID we're having is less or equal to, if it's 0 and it's not visible in the rules include, like it's not visible into the, I mean it's not visible, yeah, in the rules included, then you're gonna try to check that. Otherwise you're gonna set it, if that's true, you're gonna set it inside that array. So you're gonna have something like that. I'm still starting to believe that there's something that's gonna not work. Let's just try to go onto our UI and to test this out, at least with the first one, we need to go to the change something, I guess, within this password rules. So here, one of the things we're gonna check guess we're gonna try to check. These are two favy icons, so one has to show, I believe one has to show when the thing is, when the rule has been checked to true. So one has to show, otherwise it has to show when things are otherwise. So to check this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and try to get the right colors here. I'm gonna copy this. I have this link called the color picker. So when I come there, I just simply paste this. It gives me the right colors as I want them. So if I try to get this red, click OK. Like this is like the red I'm gonna be using. So on these rules, we're gonna try to make some adjustments on this. On this what? On this where we're trying to show the rules here. So after this, I think I'm gonna be just doing like rules dot map through to get a single rule, and trying to check, for example, if if is not visible, I mean if visible rules includes, does not include rule.id, then we're not gonna return anything. But otherwise we're gonna do const a check, which I'm gonna use to check the valid rule. So this should be const is valid rule is going to be equal to the I don't know what's wrong with my keyboard. It's going to be equal to password if it's true, and it's going to be equal to rule dot. We're going to use our validator function to check the password. So if the rule is validated to true and everything is okay, and is not equal to false, it's true, it's not equal to false, what I'm gonna do is then now here is when I'm going to make a return, which is going to get all of this and all of this. Just drag this here. So this is like a normal return. So we're trying to check all of that there. And now the most interesting part is to try to change the colors of what we're going to use. It's now going to give an error whereby it will say it will need a key, which will be something like rule.id. So now this class name will have to change a little bit, because now I'm gonna, for example, trying to change it into a dynamic, because we're going to use this to check many things. So for the things that are not going to change is padding, the padding 4 we've been using, so that's not going to be changing at all. And then we are going to be using a dynamic to check if it's valid. So we're going to use this to check if it is valid and it's true, then we are going to be able to do what, to show different colors. Otherwise still we render different colors. So we're going to check, I'll just rename it to is valid. So if it's valid true, then there we are going to showcase different colors. Otherwise we will show different colors, but still some of the things that are not going to be changing are mm, all of the border, some things like this. So if I just cut this and paste it here, these are things that are not going to change. But now the things that are going to change is so we shall have border. It's not going to change. I think the border only. And I can also just gonna name this anyway, border. Just give it rounded LG. Just go to, let me just get this here up, rounded. I mean the transition colors, and then gonna get this duration because it won't change that much. Okay, so with that, let me first remove this duplicated line. So if it is valid and it's true, then we are going to change to these background colors. So I've made a copy of these, I think, called hash f. So I have a copy of this, so it's going to be like this. Because if it's valid, we're gonna need something like E8, F5, E9, and the border of hash C 5E 8C 6 hash, and text black, which I can just simply put here, text black, because it's not going to change anyway. So it's going to be just text black, and shadow, which is just going to be MD because it's not going to change, or SN. So the next thing here is just getting colors, which is going to be hash F8A FBA, and the border, which is going to be hash FB 818C, which is just going to be something like this. So like this is going to be the rules we're going to be following all along for this. So the same thing will be going to be applying for these SVGs. So I'm just going to use this to say, for example, is valid. If it is true, then we need to show the one for the, I mean, if the valid is true, we shall need to show this for the green. The green will be the first, and then if it's not validated, then it's when we're going to show this red. So if this is all of it true properly, then we will need to have this rule, and the rule ID will be the one using here, rule.id, which is going to be this. And also now, since we have the description part of our rule, so we're going to render here rule.description. So with that, rule.description. So if you just try to have a look there, don't know if something will work. So that if I see hello, okay, so I know one of the reasons why it's not working at least, because I guess mm, in our um, in our use effects, we have something which is not running properly. Like here in the dependencies, at the end of the dependencies, I believe we have to call something. We have to add in what you are using to render. It's the password and the visible rules. Basically, these are the things we are using to render out these projects to be fully functional. I mean, these are the dependencies we're basing on the password and the variable and the visible rules. Oh, guys, have you seen that? Oh, so beautiful. Have you seen that? Let's try to refresh, give it a refresh. So if you try to test in something like oh, so they tell us must be 5. So if you try to enter 4, 5, oh my god. So now we've gotten to the next one. Your password must be at least 5 characters long. Your password must include the number. So we are going to this next rule now. Like the first rule has got passed, then we go into the second rule. Okay, so this is great. This is really great. Your password your password must have a number. So for example, if you add the number, great ways of handling that. But we have a problem, I guess. If it's valid, we're gonna show red. Okay, great. Do not have any problems for now. But the problem, if you try to delete this, we want also all of this to get away. That's what we were trying to finish out here with the show next rule when current ID, I mean when current rule is valid. So we are trying to check it with the previous rule, which is surprisingly worked. I don't know how, but it has worked. Yeah, but it's been quite interesting, and I'm still thinking of something. We're still trying to do this. So we have to make to trigger another part here as we were trying to conclude, whereby we need to reset the visible rules when input is empty for just go one. So when the input is empty, we just need to reset everything. We just need to call this and reset it back to an empty array. As simple as this. Okay, let's have a look one more time. So if you put hello, we're having some errors, does not happen. Maximum update depth, this happens when a component calls state inside, but this is made the dependence array or one of the render. Oh, so if I do hello, oh, you see all of that gets away. So yeah, so far we are good. So one thing I wanted is to make sure at least the ones that if visible rules are not true, then return now. If it's valid and password equals to this, we change. So if it's valid, it's so if it is valid, we shall show that. Okay, so we can do something like this. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh and go to try to check here and say, yeah, this one is true. Going ahead, and that's true, that's true. If everything is valid and true, then it's when we handle that. So coming back to the password, if visible rules line equals to 0, set visible rules 2, and then return was defined, and everything is working properly. So now maybe what we want to do is go ahead and deploy this. Add it up um, onto our onto the GitHub. So if I go ahead here, now this is running and everything we've tested, it's running properly on localhost. So to add more rules, this is, guys, for you. You can practice on this to learn more of open source projects. What you need to do is go ahead and maybe go ahead and update the schema and all of that and paste the rules. Anyway, to be more professional, I'm gonna do, as we're still here, I'm gonna create a folder. I'm gonna call it schema. I'm gonna name it password schema.tsx. So I'm gonna do inside here, just gonna copy this, just gonna do RFC since I need to export, even though I don't call it a default, and I just want to maybe say just gonna call this password schema, which is gonna be of type Zod. We need to install, let's just do like this. Call it password schema, and we just need to call from Zod const password Zod schema. So this is basically gonna be a schema. Schema is gonna be, so I can return the schema here just like that, and we can just define, so we can just now simply call this from this, and I can cut this type of strings or Zod schema. Okay, so password string to string. Let's try ask GPT. Yeah, trying to make this identify the. I think I'm tired, guys. But yeah, as we're coming to conclusion, thank you guys um for watching this, and as well as you know subscribing, those who have sticked along all the way to this video. I want to thank you guys, and yeah, thank you so much for being great subscribers. And still just completing something. Okay, so don't think you have to return anything. Give it the error, and the error indicates that TypeScript is inferring from the return, so meaning it should be, yeah. Oh gosh, I'm just 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 super tired, I guess. It's been a long since we oops since I've done this quite long video. So what basically we're doing, we making this a type zone schema, so whereby we just need to you know infer it, but still not type any password schema and say and all of that. So anyway, thank you guys for subscribing. I just want to thank you guys for being good subscribers. So thank you so much. And if we come here and we try to host this together, so if we go here to my GitHub and we go to um, so if you go to the GitHub and then we come here to this, is it? Oops, go to messages. So if I go to new repository and then create it to be password game, I'm gonna make it public. Just create this. All I need, what I want is then come back here, I can kill this and then go to, then I'll simply just git init. So after initting, what I'm gonna do is doing this, adding the remote, and so I'm going to commit git commit minus n. So if I hit enter and then paste in this, what's gonna do is gonna push it directly to our GitHub, as you can see. So now it's there on GitHub. So if you try just to refresh, should be having it publicly listed onto our GitHub. Now the next thing is gonna be jumping into Vercel.com. So simply I'll click enter. So after clicking enter, the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna come here and I'm just gonna click sorry, it was trying to load, so I'm just gonna click here and then click on the project and then go ahead and try to look for a new project, which is gonna be import. I'm gonna import this. So after importing this, I'm just gonna leave it as password game. All of that, just I'm gonna click the deploy. So we have high chances that it might fail deploying for the first time, and if it does, I'm gonna show you how to go ahead of that. This is something I was expecting. This is now because of the React what because of the React. So the problem is that npm cannot blah blah peer dependencies and all of that. So if you go ahead and to my have another repository here called learning convex. So if you go ahead and you try to check the package, while I was deploying this, I faced the same problem. So thought this time around it could go on the same. So this is another project where I was trying to learn convex. So I just downgraded my React. That's how I did it. So if I go back, so just gonna go back to the project, password game. So if I click back to here and I come back to my package.json, these two, and paste there this and save, and just go back like git add git commit -n. So we're having something there. I've pushed now to fix the package.json. Just I'm gonna try to fix the package.json. So 3 minutes. Package.json, has it come? 3 minutes, 11 hours ago, 11 hours, 11 hours. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, so I'm just gonna do git push. Okay, so it has pushed that. So if you try to refresh here, we should have a new deployment trying to running behind the scenes. So having something running there, we can still go to it by going here and go to the project and then go to deployments here. So I think this time around it should pass if we click onto this, and so it's trying to run, it's trying to build, collecting traces and all of that. Otherwise, so if you get to this repo, guys, please just go ahead and give it a star. Also try to fork it, also make a pull request. You can suggest changes, you can open up pull requests and all of that. Probably you're going to be learning how to do open source contributions through this project as well. So let me know what you think in the comment description below. Otherwise, thank you for watching and sticking to the end of this video. Love you so much, guys, that have went ahead and subscribed. And now if you have a look, I'm gonna link this into the description. We have the password game running, and if we try to click on the link, I think I've clicked on the wrong link, this is giving me something else. But if I click onto this one, password game 6.app, so it just enters beautifully. Then I start typing in sell toolbar, control K. Okay, so this is for sale. So I'm just gonna do hello dear at maybe one. Password must include an uppercase, the password must be at least 5 characters, the password must include a number, password must include uppercase. So I've done all of them, passed all of them. So I have a few rules. So to make this fun, you have to have a couple of many rules as possible, that it's hard for someone to easily trigger it out. Yeah, but otherwise, thank you so much, guys. It's been really a pleasure. Many suggestions, you can go ahead and maybe suggest to work on something like this. If you're trying to exceed the angles, the corners, then you should expand the text input instead of just making the text go there. This is something easy you can work on. Otherwise, this is really a beautiful project. uh, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, and as well as give this video a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please turn on the notification button and as well as subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure having you all around here up to the end of the video. I hope to see you back again in a few coming next videos. Thank you so much. Bye bye.